Hello, everybody, and welcome to another brand new live episode of the
Geek
Buddies!
Hey! That's right. We are back here on a fun, what would you say, this Thursday afternoon, evening, morning, depending on where you're at in the world. And we're live doing a special live Q&A this week. As you notice, one of our members is missing, and that is the great Michael Vogel. He is roaming the halls of Europe, doing God knows what. And so we decided we'd reach out to one of our favorite guests on the Geek Buddies and ask if she has time to hang out with us. And you know what? She said yes, fresh from her trip to Mexico. Shout out to the host, or a co-host, I guess you would say, of Force Toes Pod, the co-host of the Jedi Way, a Schmodown Star Wars superstar, and someone who you can go to for all your Star Wars celebration needs and tips nowadays, the great Laura Kelly. Laura, how are you?
Oh, thank you. I'm amazing, especially after that amazing introduction. I feel awesome now. Let's do this.
That's right. Let's do this. Absolutely. Shannon McClung, how are you?
I'm okay, Johnny. As we were talking off air just now, I just got out of a screening of Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore.
How's that working out for you?
You know, I as I was saying, this is the most I've enjoyed one of the Fantastic Beasts movies, even though there were large sections that I was like, because I don't remember the second movie at all. I just remember it being not very good.
Yeah.
So there are large sections of the plot that I'm like, I think they're talking about something that happened before. It's fine.
I'll catch up. Yeah.
Cast wise, production wise, it's beautiful. Everyone did a great job. And I'm curious now to see I'm actually curious to see the fourth movie. If there's going to be a fourth movie, we'll find out with the box office on Monday.
Yeah. There's supposed to be 2 more entries to this franchise at this point. So who knows? As you said, depending on the box office, depending on the reactions, we'll see if there's going to be more of these Fantastic Beasts films. And, we'll have a review or something about it later on down the road with the Geek Buddies for sure. Once our intrepid Michael Vogel, our world traveler, comes back from overseas. Shannon is a writer. He's an actor. He's going to be a showrunner probably very soon, a producer as well. I'm a writer, producer, and host here. And my name is John Roga. If you're tuning into the Geek Buddies for the first time, we appreciate you all hanging out with us. And we really appreciate Carbon Health once again continuing their sponsorship with us. Just signed the contract today. They are back on board for another 3 months sponsoring the Geek Buddies and the Outlaw Nation. So thank you so much to Carbon Health. They are a place you need to go to for all your healthcare needs, a one-stop place. Go to carbonhealth.com. They've got 100+ locations all over this country. They got 50 plus locations in California alone. That's a big state. So there's a lot of you out there who listen to us from various parts of California. Go and get checked out. Go and get your physical. Don't do that stupid man shit where you ignore that pain in your body. Go and get it checked out. And look, COVID cases are on the rise again, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to bring anybody down, but you saw the news this morning. COVID cases are ticking back up again as this new variant is spreading. So, hey, you want to get tested? They do COVID testing as well. They've done over 2 million tests total there over at Carbon Health. So definitely go and check them out for all your healthcare needs. And they believe in setting you up with a physician who is always checking up on you to make sure you're good to go. Laura, you've had experiences, with physical ailments in your life. You know that it's important to have the right person in your corner for healthcare needs.
It absolutely is. Yeah. And that's so great that you've signed another contract with Carbon Health. That's so fun to have them back on. And that's wild. 2 million COVID tests. Good for them. I've had experience with those too. So yay.
Shannon, any thoughts on your end as you're getting older here?
Oh my gosh, you don't need to remind me.
Hey now.
There actually is, for the place that I moved just, a few months ago, there actually is a Carbon Health right by our Sprouts grocery store. So every time I walk past there, I'm pretty healthy, but I'm kind of like, hey, if things go south, I can go right here.
Well, real quick tidbit, where I've been hosting the shows for Hollywood Critics Association is literally 3 minutes from that Sprouts. I've gotten a couple of slices of pizza from that Sprouts. That's some good stuff. And I see that Carbon Health with the wood sign there. It's a nice looking Carbon Health.
In Woodland Hills?
Yes, Woodland Hills. Yes, that's where we shoot. So,
oh boy, my wife is going to have words for you then.
Oh, wow. What did I do now?
Oh, she asked me last night, like, like he's been coming up to host this show, and I
Yeah.
said, yeah, and she goes, I can't believe he hasn't reached out, and I'm like, well, they're probably recording down in Hollywood or Santa Monica.
No.
That's really far for her to find out, which she's gonna find out.
Oh, great.
That you've been 3 minutes away and did not want to grab a beverage or grab a meal.
No.
She'll be very upset.
No one said it did not want to. Well, I have responsibilities back at this house, and it's a 3.5-hour drive, and I'd rather get back on the road as soon as possible. Fair enough. I'll take the heat.
You're in trouble.
Yeah, that's all right. Not the first time I've been in trouble with someone's significant other. Okay, anyway, so we got over 120 of you all watching us right now. Thank you so much right off the bat. Please hit a like as we go along. We are live, so you can start sending in your super chats and your Streamlabs, because this is a live Q&A episode. You see the Streamlabs address right there on the screen, or it should be on the screen, but I will absolutely put it there in the chat as well for you all to do. And it's also in the description of this video. Send in your Streamlabs and your super chat questions. We will get to the Q&A section of the show in just a little bit. We're going to talk about some subjects first. You know how the Geek Buddies work if you've been with us for a while. If not, if you're new and you're trying this out, here's how it works. Each of us presents a segment. We talk about it amongst ourselves. Then we get into our main topic. And our main topic this week is you. All your questions, all your thoughts, all your comments that you want to hear our 2 cents on. And really adding Laura Kelly to the mix, our 3 cents on, to give you our ideas and our perceptions and our points of views on those questions. All right, so let's get it going. Shannon McClung, I think you're starting us off this week. Do it.
I am with trailer. Just one.
No, all right.
After multiple teases, we finally get a proper trailer for Stranger Things season 4, and this thing was massive. I mean, we're talking like it was over 3 minutes. So it has a great Journey song. We're getting to catch up with all of our favorite characters. Hopper still, it looks like he's still in Siberia. The Byers are in California with 11. Looks like Lucas is playing on the high school basketball team. Really, really fun to just, catch up with all these characters, especially because, they're all, with the exception of Winona Ryder and David Harbour, they're kids. And we've like watched these kids grow up, and you get the sense that something really bad is on the horizon as Paul Reiser is talking with Millie Bobby Brown, saying, there's a war coming. And if you don't have your powers, we're not going to stand a chance. Yeah. Really, really exciting trailer, but I'll throw it over to you all. What did you all think of that massive trailer for Stranger Things season 4? Yeah, Laura Kelly, 3.5-minute trailer. A lot was presented. The new big bad, which essentially may be the overall big bad of this entire series, was presented here. They're all in different locations. They're growing up. They're in high school. They're playing basketball. 11 is trying to be a part of the populace and try to be a normal kid. All this stuff is happening here. Then you've got haunted houses, demon Gorgon bats. Like, well, what are your thoughts about this entire trailer? Did you like this? And were you like kind of maybe done with your Stranger Things fandom a little bit, wondering where they were going to go next? Or does this get you back into it?
No, this definitely got me excited and got me back into it. And, this really has been such a pleasure getting to watch these kids grow up on screen. I mean, I had to look this up, but I think Millie Bobby Brown was probably 11 when they made the first season of the show, 11 or 12 years old. She's 18 years old now.
Yeah.
Like, she's a full grown adult. I mean, it's just wild. And this trailer got me really excited for it but I think the main thing that it did was alert me to the fact that I remember absolutely nothing about what happened in season 3. So I actually sat and watched the season 3 finale last night just to sort of get a refresher and figure out kind of where we were picking back up. And that helped a lot. But I kind of forgot that the whole reveal about Hopper was not actually like a post-credit scene in season 4. That was like a totally separate thing that they revealed later. There was just so much that I forgot. So going back and doing a rewatch, I think at this point, we've got hopefully plenty of time to sit and go back and rewatch 8 or 9 episodes of season 3. Yeah. The recaps on Netflix, I think, are a little bit useless. Yeah. They tend to not be very helpful. And so I think actually sitting and rewatching this is going to be really valuable because there was a lot to remember. And I think the best part about going back and rewatching that season 3 finale was the reminder of Erica Sinclair, the younger sister of Jonathan, I think was his name. Yeah. I think she was introduced in season 2, and I forgot how much she was just the most delightful part of this show ever since she came onto it. She's just so funny and so naturally comedically gifted, and she's a pleasure to watch. So there's a lot of, I think, value in going back and watching, but this trailer, it did have quite a bit of content to digest.
Yeah, I absolutely love the trailer. And in fact, I'll recommend to people who are watching or listening to us right now, if you're listening to us later on the podcast stream, go to IGN and watch the 16-minute video of the Duffer Brothers breaking down their own trailer that was released. The 3.5-minute trailer. They break it down and explain to you what their concept is, what their process is, the idea of them wanting to have a haunted house. Because that was kind of a big deal in the 1980s. They've always wanted to have a haunted house type thing. So they put that in here. The dude who is stretching his hands out like that, you get a quick shot of him. He's apparently the dungeon master of some kind. I mean, you've got full metal. I mean, you got, guitars there, medical guitars going crazy. You've got Journey. Great version of Separate Ways, kind of removing some of the music there to kind of just have Steve Perry's vocal all through it. You've got and they said in the description or in their conversation about it that this is their Game of Thrones season because everyone is in different places and they have to slowly find their ways to each other by the end of the season. And it seems like, as we saw in the trailer, that at some point 11 is going to have to get her powers back. And if she does, because I mean, you see Paul Reiser saying, we can't do it without you. We need you, blah, blah, blah. And that kind of thing lends itself to believe that 11's going to need her powers back. Then what is that going to mean when she gets her powers back? And the thing they said cryptically in the description or in their conversation was that not everyone gets out alive. So I don't know what that means here for the show going forward.
I mean, somebody dies, John.
Yeah, well, fair enough. I don't know who. That's a good point. They don't call him the best color man for nothing, folks. But yeah, that's absolutely true. But it was great to see the beginning here with Sadie Sink, who plays Max, kind of over the grave there and talking and kind of, reliving that situation. Then all of a sudden you see her like kind of jacked up in the sky, which is really insane. It says every ending has a beginning. What does that mean? So there's so much here that was fun to digest. And I felt like I was kind of at the end of my Stranger Things fandom by the end of last season, Shannon. And then this came along, and this, I'm like, okay, this is how you get people to grow with the show, right? These kids are now teenagers, so they're going to be into heavy metal. They're going to be into they're going to be into darker things. They're going to be able to see things that are a little even more scarier than they did when they were in middle school. Their doors of perception are going to be more wide open to consume darker stuff, scarier stuff. So I think this may be the most insane season yet. And the one more thing the Duffer Brothers said is they wanted this season to be not only their Game of Thrones season, but their horror season as well, like really dialing in to the horror. So Shannon, your thoughts on this trailer?
I mean, I thought it was great. And I think the fact that they are touching on these sort of 80s tropes, how in season 1, it was D&D. I don't really remember. Season 2 was my least favorite of the Stranger Things seasons, but season 3 was the mall. And season 4, now we're getting the haunted house. I mean, season 2, Sean Astin was a delight and couldn't believe his fate at the end of that season. But yeah, I mean, I think it's really, really strong. And that's one of the things, like with the pandemic, is shows that haven't been on for years. That we're finally getting that follow-up season. Like, we were talking about Barry before. How it's been like 3 years since we've seen an episode of Barry. My wife and I are going back and watching season 2 now to kind of, brush up for it. Of course. But Stranger Things season 1, that was something that really kicked Netflix's original programming into high gear. Yeah. And because that was several years ago now. And now, Netflix is just this, streaming powerhouse. But to see them be able to come back to one of their flagship franchises. And again, you're watching these kids grow up on screen. I mean, it looks like it's going to be a blast. And whatever that Demogorgon big boss, the dude in makeup, super, super exciting. And the fact that this is coming out on May 27th, this is Memorial Day weekend. This is typically a very, very big weekend for cinemas. That's how confident Netflix is with Stranger Things. Like, you know what? Let's release it on Memorial Day. I think that's awesome.
Laura Kelly, it's coming out the same weekend as Kenobi. What
It
are we gonna
is the
do?
weekend of Star Wars Celebration. We're all just going to be like, what? Holed up in our rooms in the evening? Probably. We probably are. That that's okay. That's all right. That's what we do, and it'll be fun. But I think the great thing about this show is that it seems to have sort of like kept that sort of, I don't want to say innocence. Maybe that's not the right word, but they're really staying true to their roots, I think, in this show. And I'm very much looking forward to diving back into season 4, probably after Star Wars Celebration, to be honest.
Second round of pizzas in Laura's place, Laura's room, to watch these Stranger Things episodes. Yeah, no, it's a great point you bring up, Laura. I don't know if innocence is the heroic nature of these characters, I think, is retained. I think that's what I think you're trying to say. The heroic nature of these characters here is definitely retained, and we get, every season there's a new thing for them to battle, and somehow, just like the Avengers, the cast keeps increasing, yet they still find enough for everybody to do to stand out. I love that Maya Hawke, I think, is the actress's name, Ethan Hawke's daughter, and Uma Thurman's daughter. It's great to see her. She looks older. She looks a little more like, okay, I'm no longer wearing that clothes for the ice cream shop. Like, there's a whole nother approach that she has. Everyone is older. Everyone is grabbing onto what they're becoming. And so it's going to be fascinating to see how they work their way through high school with all this craziness,
And with it coming out on May 27th, depending, if you live close to Southern California or Central Florida, Universal's Halloween Horror Nights has had Stranger Things mazes in the past.
Good point.
And my guess is, because there will be about 5 months in between the release of the series and Halloween Horror Nights, that more than likely, I bet Stranger Things is going to make a return to Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh, wow. But you haven't heard anything. You can't say.
Not officially. Oh, no. I am not in the room for those conversations. I am a mere performer.
Yeah. Okay. Like LeBron James. Well, I don't have anything to do with the lineups. I never decided anything. No, I feel like you're there. I feel like you're part of it, Shane. You've been on for 20 years in that place. I feel like you hear things in the wind for sure. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens going forward. But Laura, Kelly, I think you have our next story here. Something possibly fun is coming. This is a 4th season of Stranger Things. Is there another season of another property possibly coming? What do you got?
It sounds like there is. So this is rumor at this point. Cinelinx posted this earlier this week, but it sounds like Star Wars Visions is kicking up for another season, potentially early this year. I think, we can all agree this was fairly successful its first go round. I think it was very well received for the most part. Yeah. So I think a season 2 is inevitable, but the fact that we might be getting it later this year is a huge surprise, given all of the things that we already have going. We've already had Boba Fett, we've got Kenobi coming, we've got Andor, the Bad Batch season 2, and then more Mandalorian later this year. That's a lot for 1 year for Star Wars. They tend to not churn out content at the same sort of level that Marvel does, but the fact that we've got so much coming this year is really exciting. But yes, the fact that we might be getting more Star Wars Visions, there's talk of bringing back some of the same creators from the first season, potentially bringing in some new ones. It's not clear whether or not we would get any sort of like sequels to some of the first stories that we saw in season 1. There was a rumor a while back that one of the directors of one of the shorts already had ideas for what he wanted to do for a sequel, and he wanted to do a full feature, if I remember. But beyond that, this is sort of just a rumor. Jordan Mason from Cinelinx tends to be right, I think, more often than he's wrong. So I have good faith that this might be coming soon. But this is really exciting. I mean, we talked about this on the Jedi Way, if I recall, John. Yeah. I think we each had different favorites, which was fun, of the first season of this show. But I wanted to ask you, Shannon, did you watch Star Wars Visions?
I saw about a third of it. I saw the first 3 episodes. The Duel I really, really liked.
Yes.
Tatooine Rhapsody I did not connect to at all. And the twins kind of got me off the show.
Oh, wow.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, well, also, I'm not an anime guy. I mean, I lived in Japan for 2 years. I saw how much it has affected that culture and how people love it over there, anime and manga. It's just one of those things that doesn't really connect with me. And while I may go back at some point and finish season 1, I mean, it's not on the docket. I mean, we have so much content out there. I mean, there's only so many hours in the day. But what I like is the fact that Kurosawa was a big influence on Star Wars, and Star Wars has now become an influence on anime. Like I love to see sort of the proliferation of the brand. So while it may not be the thing for me, I love how much people love it.
Yeah. 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 I mean, as Lauren mentioned, like, I think it was our first episode back after we'd taken a bit of time off, was to talk about Star Wars Visions. And I loved it. I loved it from top to bottom. Did I like everything in there? No, of course not. But I liked that it challenged me as a viewer. I liked that it pushed me out into the outer rim, so to speak, of what the brand can do, what the franchise can do. And one of the things I've been saying for years since I got into this business when it came to Star Wars is I wanted to see new perspectives, new points of views, new approaches to this franchise, because I felt like this was the only way the franchise was going to keep existing, was to keep challenging what was here. Now, JJ also obviously came out with The Force Awakens that feels very similar to A New Hope, but there were chances taken with Last Jedi, whether you like it or not. Those chances were taken. Star Wars Visions was a chance. The Star Wars stories of Rogue One and Han Solo are a chance. So the books that are happening, the High Republic stuff is a chance. The video games, like all these things, they're pushing the boundaries of what you can enjoy. And Star Wars Visions, for me, certainly was a fun watch. And I'm really surprised at how quickly they're turning around to drop a second season, because animation takes a while. And I know these are smaller samples of it, but maybe you're able to do them much more quickly when you have 9 animation studios involved or 8 animation studios, as opposed to one doing an hour and 45-minute movie, or the Bad Batch doing one section of like 15, 20 episodes. I imagine this is how they were able to turn it around that quickly, but I was pretty surprised by this. I thought we wouldn't see anything for another 2 years. Laura, what'd you think of this news?
I was very surprised to hear this. I mean, of all the things that I thought we were going to be getting in Star Wars this year, this was not going to be on my list at all. I mean, I think you're right. You know, the fact that animation takes so long to do the original, I think the first season, all of those shorts were between like 8 and like 30 minutes long.
Yeah,
So there
right.
were some that were a little bit on the longer end, but you know, if this was something that they had been working on for years before we even saw it, and people at Lucasfilm saw it and loved it, which it sounds like that's what happened, they may have gotten to work right away on the second season. So I'll be curious to see if they bring in some new perspectives, if we see some new sort of, there were some different animation styles, even just in, within the first season of this show. So I'll be curious to see where they kind of step out of the box and what different timelines we're exploring. Hopefully new ones. I would love to see something with the High Republic in season 2 of Visions. The great thing I think about this was that there wasn't any need to worry about timeline or the canon or connecting to the Skywalkers or any existing characters within the Star Wars universe. So these creators had so much freedom to just dive into these different timelines and different parts, different planets of the galaxy. And that's what made it really fun, and also like just sort of a relaxed viewing environment for me. I didn't have to think about where is this taking place on the timeline, how old are people, how does this connect to the sky? It doesn't matter. All of it was totally, its own thing, and I thought that was a great advantage to what Star Wars Visions put out there.
Yeah, are there any stories either of you would want to see, like the next chapter of, that were shown during Star Wars Vision in the first season?
The Ninth Jedi I thought was amazing. I would love to see a sequel to that. And I, as opposed to Shin, I liked the twins. So I would like to see what the next iteration of that story.
Yeah.
I mean, again, having only seen 3 of them, the only one that I would want to see a sequel to is The Duel. And they could call it the TWO-EL, The Tool.
I like it. I'm here for that. I will say, Shannon, if you liked Ronin, I would recommend watching the last one. Watch, like, I think it was whatever the last episode of season 1 was.
Yeah.
I
Is that
feel
the
like some of
Ninth
the
Jedi?
animations. No, I don't know what it was called. I
different
think it had a Japanese name. I don't remember, but
Yeah.
Okay.
I would. It had a similar sort of feel and a similar style. I think, kind of not exactly, because Ronin was a very, very different animation style. I think a very different design style from the rest of it, but the story itself sort of felt similar. So I would check that one out.
I will totally do that.
Yeah, I think it's like 2 Jedi, and there's a master and a Padawan, and they're facing this older kind of Sith connected type guy, and then it's about teaching him, the young one, what it can be when you think you can handle something, when in fact you have no idea what this actually is, or judging a book by its cover. It's a very interesting story for sure. All right, so we'll see. No evidence, no idea of when this might come out. Just sometime next year, right, Laura?
Potentially fall of this year is what they're saying. So we'll see.
All right. Okay. Rick Bickmore coming in with a super chat. Ladies and gentlemen, please start sending in your Streamlabs and super chats. We're 2 topics down. We got 2 quick topics to go, and then we're jumping into your Q&A. So start lining them up now. Send in your Streamlabs and your super chats. He says, Rick Bickmore does, showing some support. Thanks for all the great content from the Geek Buddies and friends. We'll catch the rest of this later. Heading to see Secrets of Dumbledore right now. So excited. Well, there you go. There you go. All right.
Thanks, Rick.
Yeah, thank you, Rick. And we got 179 of you joining us right now. So thank you so much. Please hit that like button on this video. And if you're watching later, leave a comment and hit that like button as well. All right, let's move on to our third topic here. Brie Larson. Brie Larson, known as Captain Marvel, known as one of Scott Pilgrim's ex-girlfriends, I think. She is going to be, and Amy Schumer's sister in Trainwrecked. She is going to be part of the Fast and the Furious franchise, which is a little bit of a shock to me. Vin Diesel releasing this not totally staged Instagram picture of him and Brie Larson talking about her joining the Fast and Furious. She's saying, he said, yeah. You see this angel over my shoulder cracking me up. You say to yourself, that's Captain Marvel. Clearly, there is love and laughter in this image. What you don't see, however, is the character you will be introduced to in Fast 10. You have no idea how timeless and amazing she will be in our mythology. What do you think you've made? Beyond her beauty, her intellect, her Oscar, is this profound soul who will add something you might not have expected but yearned for. Welcome to the family, Brie. Interesting, I don't know, interesting words there from Vin Diesel. But to kind of add a little bit of, intrigue to the situation, earlier this year, Brie Larson was interviewed by Uprocks for her campaign with Eugene Levy that came out right around the Super Bowl, which is a pretty cool campaign, I thought. And they asked her about what car she likes to drive and being in it. And she said, please tell everybody I would love to be in a Fast and Furious movie, 100%. I want to be in one. I'm obsessed. I love those movies. I think they're so good. They're so fun. And they've made me appreciate cars. And it's something that should be appreciated. They're incredible. So, of course, please. So clearly Vin or the producers were reading that interview and were immediately like, look, if we can't get The Rock, let's get Momoa and let's get Brie Larson. So, Shannon, I'll go to you first on this one. Thoughts on the fact that Brie Larson is joining the Fast and Furious franchise? Are you surprised, and what do you expect?
Okay, so Brie Larson is an actor I actually really like a lot, but I do feel post her Oscar, sort of her foray into these kind of big franchise pictures, I don't think it's really done her any favors. And this is just me. Now, I know there are a lot of people out there that love her in Captain Marvel. I think she's more compelling in the Nissan commercials than she is in Captain Marvel. Damn. I mean, and again, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but I just thought she, in those Nissan commercials, I'm like, oh, that's the performer from 21 Jump Street. That's the performer from Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I mean, I think she is so electric on screen, and I do think that the big franchise movies kind of hold her down. And not just talking about Marvel. I mean, I think they didn't do her any favors with the directors she had, and coming into Endgame, that was, that was a tall ask. I mean, she's hopping on this train kind of at the end of the first leg of its journey. And I did like her more in Endgame than I did like her in her own film. But I think, again, a lot of that issue was with those directors, who I also don't think are a match for big budget filmmaking. They executive produced a show on Hulu with Cate Blanchett, and they directed a lot of the episodes, and that show was fantastic. But in terms of Brie Larson in this movie, I mean, is this the last one, or are there going to be more?
There's supposed to be 2 more. And so she's jumping on after this one. I think there's 2 more after this one. So she's jumping on once again, right at the end of a franchise, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, I think putting her and Momoa, I mean, they're stacking the cast with this. And even though these films, the last one I saw beginning to end, I want to say was Tokyo Drift. I saw the first one. I did not see the second one. I saw Tokyo Drift. I was like, that's an okay movie. Right. But the franchise took off. I think, number 4 is when the franchise really took off. Yeah. And then The Rock came in at number 5, right?
Yes. Fast 5 was The Rock.
And that's when it went to kind of a whole other level. Those.
Don't tell Vin that. Don't tell Vin that. You're right, buddy. Don't tell Vin that. Go ahead. Yeah.
He's not in the meetings talking about Halloween Horror Nights. We're not in the same room. But I do think that like I started watching Fast Five, and it's just not for me. Like it just wasn't like it's not my franchise. I've seen enough during the trailers, and I'm like, oh, I bet for folks that are a fan, I bet this is a blast. Like it's just not a blast for me. I'll be curious to see how she does, though. I mean, because again, Brie Larson is a truly talented performer. I don't think she's been in the best movies post her Oscar, though.
Yeah, and let's be honest, this isn't the first time they've had an Oscar winner be involved in this, right? I mean, Charlize Theron was the villain in Fast 8, and then you had Helen Mirren has been a consistent person coming in as the mom of Jason Statham and oh God, what's the other British actor's name?
Luke Evans.
Luke Evans. She's their mom, and she popped up in the last one as well, and had an extended scene with Vin. So, Laura Kelly, Brie Larson, Fast and Furious. Does this make sense or not make sense in your mind?
You know, I think it makes sense for her, and that's what's important. I think it's from my perspective, this is a very interesting career move. You know, she won that Oscar in her early 20s.
Yeah.
So good for her for taking this time in her career to just have a little bit of fun. I imagine that's what this move is. I did wonder maybe a little bit at first if this is sort of a strategic thing because Captain Marvel wasn't the best received character. Maybe this is her attempt to get in the good graces of the people who see the Fast and the Furious movies. Yeah. There are apparently a lot of them because they keep making them. I have not seen any of them. The fact that Brie Larson's going to be in this one is not motivation enough for me to actually go see this one, but good for her for having a little bit of fun in her career. That's what this move feels like.
Geek Buddies fans, thank God you don't have 3 sticks in the mud. I've watched every single one of these in the theater in the highest audio and video way I could possibly see these, or visual way I could see these. I remember when they were starting to have screenings, I drove up to LA to see the last Fast and Furious movie at the Chinese theater in IMAX. So I had to experience it, and I loved the living hell out of it. Like, these things are dumb fun. That's absolutely what they are. Ironically, I'm with Shannon. I did not like Fast Five. The whole idea of the safe being dragged for 30 minutes while they're like causing $60 billion worth of damage made no sense to me. But, you know, eventually they started to understand, hey, look, we can't take this seriously. We got to have fun with this thing. And sure enough, the rest of the installments have been a joy to watch for me. Even John Cena, who was not doing that good of an acting job in the last one, it was palatable to at least have him in it. But I think they're smart. They understand, look, we can't live on Michelle Rodriguez and Jordana Brewster, who are very limited actors. Paul Walker, no offense to late great Paul Walker, not that strong of an actor overall himself. Vin himself, not really that strong outside of Find Me Guilty. So you got to bring people in who are willing to put their tongues firmly planted in their cheek, but bring a certain level of performance here and give it a little bit of a foundation of strength and complexity. And I think certainly Charlize Theron did a nice job with Cypher, and she's been now in the last 2 of them. And then bringing in Helen, of course, then bringing in Brie Larson's going to be very interesting to see what she brings. And there's a lot of rumors that she might be the villain with Momoa of the piece. And couldn't that be interesting with both of them kind of working together? Captain Marvel and Aquaman kind of coming together here, because essentially Fast and Furious has turned into a superhero franchise because Dom can't be killed, apparently. And it's insane. He should have 75 concussions and be dead by I don't know, by now for sure. So, but yeah, so I don't know. It's nice. She can, she can have a little fun, take a detour into this. And certainly she's she's not shy about being a big franchise film. She's been in Kong Skull Island. She's been in these Captain Marvel movies. She's been in this one. I'm sure they all thought Scott Pilgrim was going to be a franchise. So she's not, and sadly it wasn't. She's not averse to being a part of this. And Room was 7 years ago, as Laura pointed out. It's been a long time since that Oscar. So she's got to do what she wants to do and what she enjoys doing. And maybe this is it. We shall see. All right, let's see here. Keep sending it. We got your Streamlabs and your super chats. We got a bunch of them to get to. We will get to them in just a second. Start sending them in now. We got one last story to talk about, and that is this article that came out in Variety from Brett Lang and Matt Donnelly. This exclusive article from them talking about Warner Brothers Discovery. You know that that merger went through, that purchase went through. And this article is talking about how they're exploring how to overhaul DC Entertainment. It's been less than a week since they closed. Discovery did. It's $43 billion deal for Warner Media. David Zaslav is the CEO of the combined companies now. And there was rumors that this would affect the DC feature film development overall. Zaslav, according to this article, apparently vetted candidates with experience in creating and nurturing blockbuster IP with a goal of potentially finding someone to serve as a creative and strategic czar, similar to what Marvel has with Kevin Feige. Haven't we been saying that for years that DC needed this? Well, apparently Emma Watts, who used to work at 20th Century Studios and Paramount, was someone that they interviewed. She didn't end up taking the job, but this is what they're looking at. And they believe that they want to unlock more of the DC talent. Apparently they like the Joker angle. They want to give Harley Quinn her own movie, and they want to find ways to keep going with this brand and expanding this brand. And it's ironic because the brand seems to have turned the corner for the most part. If you look at Joker, if you look at the Batman, if you look at Peacemaker, if you look at a number of things, Aquaman made money. Yeah, Wonder Woman 1984 wasn't great, but look, the property of Wonder Woman is still very valuable here. And Zaslav says he has pledged to find $3 billion in synergies with the newly merged company, and a signal of how important cost cutting will be to Warner's new owners. They want to mine DC's library of characters, and it could help control spending as Warner Brothers Discovery owns the underlying IP. So a lot to consume here. Shannon, I'll go back to you on this one. We've got a Colin Farrell Penguin and Gotham City show possibly coming, or not Gotham City, but the Arkham Asylum show coming. So you talk to me. I thought things were going okay for DC. What do you anticipate is going to happen here now?
Well, I mean, we had said for a while, I mean, and especially Vogel had said this, like, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Right.
And it seems like, okay, they're continuing the shared universe, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
They're letting Matt Reeves do his Batverse thing. But overall, I mean, when they delayed all those DC movies, which was so, coincidental that mere weeks before in all the AMC theaters, there was this 2022 DC superhero preview, and two of those movies got knocked to 2023. So the fact that something like that was released, and then within weeks stuff had been delayed, and then Shazam 2 was pushed up. I mean, maybe the merger is huge. I mean, that's a huge merger, and maybe Zaslav took a look at what they were doing, and it's like, this is a little muddy. This is a little unfocused. Like, we've seen that, yes, we're making money, but there's a way to do it better.
Right.
And we had talked about how Flash was the one that had been delayed the most, and this is pre Ezra Miller's issues in Hawaii. But the assumption was, okay, they're pushing Flash to the end because Flash is what's gonna kick off their new universe, their sort of reset universe.
Right.
Maybe that's not the case. Maybe the movie is just didn't turn out as well as they would like, and so they need a lot of time to fix it as best they can. It'll be really interesting to see what happens. I mean, Kevin Feige, like, there hasn't been, to my knowledge, and fans feel free to correct me. There really hasn't been anyone like him in Hollywood before, because there's never been anything like Marvel before. Like, this is unprecedented that you have. They're approaching their 30th movie over, since 2008. So the idea that certain DC projects are making money, maybe it's just not good enough. And looking at DC, probably looking at Harry Potter as well, like, these are foundational pillars, and they need to be stronger. So it's not a surprise that this guy Zaslav wants someone. He wants that architect. And also talking about making it, vertical content. Like, it is its own thing. Like, let's DC, leave them alone. Like, we're going to find the people, the creative team that we want in charge, and let them go.
Yeah. And, Eric Davis over on Fandango, he posted this kind of rebuttal or breakdown of what he thinks is happening is that they want to revitalize characters like Superman. They want more stuff like Joker. They need a Feige. They need to strategically lean into what they have that the MCU does not, like the flexibility to go to R-rated movies or family-friendly movies. DC should do more to develop new voices, and they want to keep DC fandom. Jeff Snyder, who is a colleague of mine, he said the only problem is Superman, which is why Variety mentioned that character specifically and why he was number 2 on my list. He says DC Films is running just fine. They've got something Marvel doesn't. The Rock is not in 1, but 2 of their movies, plus sequels to billion-dollar movies, Aquaman/Joker on the horizon, more Batman, Penguin, Arkham, Wonder Woman 3, a multiverse in Flash, and inclusive films, diverse films like Blue Beetle and Batgirl coming down the pike. So, Laura, I mean, do you really want someone to come in and kind of upset the apple cart and start all over again? Like, is the possibility of restoring the Snyderverse now in play? Because it seems to have really inspired these Snyderverse people to come out the woodwork yet again today to be like, hey, restore it. If you're going to make changes, restore the Snyderverse, create it as a separate arm of the DC brand here. What do you think about all of this?
Well, I think anyone who sees the success of Marvel would want to replicate it naturally. Yeah. And so I'm not surprised by this news at all. You know, Marvel has Feige. Star Wars has a whole story group. That's a lot of content to manage over at DC. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see them potentially go like a story group route of people, like get a group of people to come in and manage all of this content instead of just one. Because Shannon's right. Feige's he's kind of 1 in a million. We don't have another one of those floating around in Hollywood. So that exact success is going to be really hard to duplicate, I think, for sure. But, the question of with things at DC, because I'm sort of coming at it from the outside. I haven't seen all the DC movies. It's not something I'm super ingrained in. The merger happened while I was on vacation. And I didn't even know about it until I got back. So that's how separated I am from this part of the geek universe. But I think at least in this case, from the little bit that I've seen, new blood can only be a good thing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I wonder about it. I mean, I like the direction DC's been going. We're about to get Flashpoint. We're about to get Ben Affleck coming back, Michael Keaton coming back. It's going to be interesting to see how they kind of leverage what happens here, and do they use this as a guide for them to go forward? I'm all about if they want to keep continuing hearing new voices, more perspectives. As I said earlier about Star Wars, I feel the same way about any franchise. More perspectives, more voices from the communities of color, more voices from women, more voices from underserved communities being a part of this stuff and creating this stuff, I think is nothing but a positive. So it's going to be interesting to see how they go forward with this. And they have to solve the Superman problem. This is insane that we've been waiting this long since Man of Steel for a Superman situation. We've had 2, 3, 4 Batmans, 2 Jokers. We've had so many different versions of these characters, yet we can't get a Superman locked in. Like, what is the situation here that I just don't understand? And you've got people saying crazy things like Grant Hochland is the best Superman since Christopher Reeve. We can't allow that to stand. That has got to be debated and countered by having a Man of Steel with Henry Cavill coming back to play Superman. For the love of God, no offense to Tyler Hoechlin, who's doing a nice job with the role, but Henry Cavill is a great Superman, and he's not getting his due because there's some people who just don't like that Man of Steel movie, even though I love it and Shannon likes it. But I just want to see this solved. How can your top character not have any say in your properties over the last 7 years? It just doesn't make any sense on so many levels. So we'll see what happens. And if Aquaman 2, we'll see if that works out. There's a lot of things that could still have to kind of work themselves out, to be honest with you. So we'll see. And kind of an overhaul here. I really wonder if the Snyder situation will pop itself back up again. We shall see. All right. Any final words on this before we move on to our questions from our fans here?
I mean, it would be a shame if Cavill doesn't get another swing at this, because I think with the right script, with the right director, you look at some of his past performances, and I don't think he's always been the strongest, but I do feel like when he did The Man from U.N.C.L.E., Guy Ritchie, he knew how to unlock Cavill's charm. Yeah. So, I mean, that's not to say that, Guy Ritchie needs to be directing the DC film or a Superman film, but, Henry Cavill is a very capable leading man. You just have to find the right team to support him.
Yeah. I mean, The Witcher season 3 is already, I think, greenlit. So even though they were still working on Witcher season 2, and certainly a lot of people like The Witcher. Laura, did you get a chance to see Man of Steel, or did you get to see the Batman, any of that stuff recently?
I did like Man of Steel. I think I might be one of the few people that enjoyed that movie too. And I did go see the Batman recently. I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. I wouldn't see it a second time in theaters. That's too long. But I'm very excited to see that. I think it's coming to HBO in like a couple of weeks, so I'll get to watch it again then.
In 4 days. April 18th is when it's coming.
Nice.
So yeah, get on it. It's gonna be a lot of fun to see that. Yeah, and Henry Cavill in Mission Impossible, as Charlie Unicorn said, he was fantastic in that. I thought so as well. The fist pumps, it was good stuff. All right, let's get into our main topic here, and that's your questions. We did say this is a live Q&A, so I'm going to start going through these questions. Start sending them in, your Streamlabs super chats. We got a lot to get through here, but would love to hear from all of you. Send in your support for the show if you like that we're doing a live Q&A. I know Mikey's not here; he's traveling the world. Our own Kevin Feige is traveling the world, but he might chime in on some of these questions next week. So send in your stuff now so we can remember to ask him about it in a little bit. Dagan is in here. What's up, Dagan? Good to see you. He says, hey, all, always awesome to see Laura on the show. Rumors are Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness could have, quotes, endgame level surprises. What are some big reveals or character appearances you would like to see? Laura, Shannon?
Ladies first, Laura.
Loki and Sylvie. I want Loki and Sylvie to show up, and I would imagine it would only show up maybe in like a post-credit scene. I can't imagine that they would show up in the actual main part of the movie and that we wouldn't have heard about it at some point, or that wouldn't have leaked out. But that would be my hope. If it's not them, that there will at least be some sort of like connection back to the Loki show, because I really liked the Loki show and I would like it to get some respect.
Fair enough. Yeah, I like the Loki show as well. I think that's my number one, followed by WandaVision when it comes to that. Shannon, any kind of end game level surprises? I mean, we already heard Patrick Stewart's voice. We've already seen either Spectrum or possibly Ultimate Iron Man. What do you expect to see here?
I think some of the biggest surprises are going to come from the identities of the rest of the Illuminati. Like it seems pretty clear that Professor X is going to be there. I know we were sort of betting that Mordo, from a different universe, as being sort of that universe's Sorcerer Supreme. I don't think Captain Carter is a part of the Illuminati. I just don't. Okay. I don't see. It just doesn't line up in my head. That's not to say that couldn't happen. Right. But if you just going down the line, like thinking of the numbers, like, because I want to say in the comics it's 5 or 6. But I do think the character that everyone is presuming is Superior Iron Man, which I do not think Superior is the case. Right. Yeah. Superior Iron. I don't think that's the case. I do think that's Maria Rambeau as a different universe as Captain Marvel. I think right there you've got Professor X, Maria Rambeau, Mordo. So there are 2 or 3 sort of nebulous choices right now. Now, will they go and try and plant a flag for a marquee character for a future franchise? It seems kind of like fan casting, but also that could happen. I mean, are we going to see a Reed Richards? Like in the comics, Reed Richards is in the Illuminati. Are we going to see Namor? Because, with the Black Panther sequel, I mean, they pretty much, even though they have not officially confirmed that Tenoch Huerta is Namor. I mean, it seems pretty. It seems pretty obvious right now. I saw some people saying, Christopher Pike from Star Wars, the actor's name, Anson Mount. Talking about him coming in as a Black Bolt. From the television show, the ABC show, The Inhumans, that did not do well. Like, I don't think that is going to happen. But having someone play Black Bolt, that could be interesting. That's where I think the majority of the surprises are going to come from. And also, who's the bad guy? Like, we heard Wanda say Nightmare, and that Sokovian accent, and a lot of jumping was done to Nightmare's the bad guy. But I mean, I still seems like Wanda's going to be the antagonist to me. But it's so exciting that we're going to get to see that we're going to get to see this movie. Like, as excited as I was for No Way Home, I think I'm probably more excited for Doctor Strange just because there's so much stuff we don't know. I mean,
I think it's a different level of excitement, at least for me, right? Like, it's the idea of I'm excited. I was excited to see if they could nail it, bringing all 3 Spider-Men back and making it work. This is, can they launch everything they want to launch out of this? Because Shannon, it's only 2 hours and 6 minutes. How are you going to get all of this into 2 hours and 6 minutes and make it work?
You know, I mean, 2 hours and 6 minutes, that's not a short movie.
Okay.
Like, I
Certainly
think
not
we've
for Laura Kelly, it's kind of long, it sounds like.
I mean, we've become so acclimatized to
Conditioned.
these
Yeah.
these 2.5 hour movies. You forget that 2 hours is still a pretty long movie.
Fair enough.
And depending on what the role of like the Illuminati is going to be. I mean, who's just like, these people aren't necessarily going to have their own storylines. I mean, they are going to be a roadblock for Doctor Strange to get past.
Right.
You know, the ultimate confrontation is probably going to be with Wanda. So, I mean, I don't think the Illuminati section will be shortchanged at all.
Right.
But I think that it is a bump in the road to the final confrontation.
Yeah. A lot of rumors about Blade showing up for the first time, Mahershala Ali as one of the Illuminati as well. We shall see. Jim Cotta, that's awesome. God love you for that name. Jim Cotta, just sending some love to you guys. The box office is back, baby. Sonic 2's wild $71 million opening weekend seems to be a harbinger of a great summer season. Do you guys think Doctor Strange 2 can actually top No Way Home? So far, the pre-sales have topped it. Well, let me take this first, Jim Cotta. It's interesting you bring this up. Matt Nose and I recorded our most recent episode of the Top 10 to drop on Tuesday, and we went through some of the screenings times that were happening on Thursday night and Friday for Doctor Strange in LA, and there were quite a few tickets still left for a number of the shows. Now, are they in the right sections of the prime sections? No, but still was surprised at 3 p.m. IMAX at the Chinese Theater at 4 p.m. I could get in and get a good seat. So just kind of so I don't know where the pre-sales are happening, and if they're matching, great. But I don't know if this film. I think people are waiting until those first reviews come out, and we're not getting screenings till the 2nd of May. I just got mine today. We're not getting to the 2nd. So a lot of us aren't going to be able to talk about it till then. So I imagine that's when we're going to see the real rush to buy tickets if the reception is good. What do you guys think? Do you think it will top Spider-Man No Way Home?
Well, here's my question. Wasn't No Way Home like one of the biggest openings like of all time?
Yeah,
I mean, didn't that set records, like not even just in COVID, like of all time. So I'm thinking no for this Doctor Strange movie. I did have to admit on our No Way Home review that I hadn't actually sat and watched the whole thing start to finish of the first Doctor Strange movie. I did finally do that. I definitely had never seen the post-credit scene, so that was an interesting reveal, I think, at the end. But yeah, I don't think people have quite the connection to Doctor Strange that they had to every iteration of Peter Parker we've had since 2002. So I think that was always going to be a bigger draw.
It's a good point. Stacking the deck in a way. Yeah. And Shannon it made almost $1.9 billion, as Laura alluded to here. This is the second biggest domestic opening of all time. Second biggest, and is the 6th highest grossing film ever, COVID or not. So what do you think?
I mean, I think Laura's probably right. I mean, everybody knew No Way Home was going to make a lot of money. Like everybody knew that. The level of which it made, I don't think people had predicted.
Yeah.
With Doctor Strange, I mean, I do agree with Laura that Peter Parker is a very different character from Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
And, you know, because the reveal of the 3 Spider-Men had been spoiled way in advance.
Yeah.
I just don't see Stephen Strange pulling in that same audience. Now, that's not to say it's not going to do well. I think it's going to do incredibly well. Definitely going to do better than the first Doctor Strange movie. But I think what will happen is it will be entirely dependent on how the movie turns out. If this is a movie that people want to go see again and again and again, like they did with Infinity War, like they did with Endgame, like they did with No Way Home, that is where I think the box office is kind of dependent on, is how much what the rewatch factor is going to be. Like, I know we're probably going to see it 2 or 3 times in the first weekend.
Yeah.
But most folks don't do that. Like, they see the movie once, then they're going to catch it again on streaming or when it comes out on Blu-ray or whatever.
Yeah.
But I do think it's going to be successful. I mean, the idea that the 3 Spider-Man, that was spoiled.
Yeah.
The fact that Marvel gave us Patrick Stewart, what else are they keeping back? That's that's what I'm guessing.
And you know, not to give any credit to anybody who spoiled the 3 Spider-Man or the two other Spider-Man coming back. Maybe Marvel saw that and is like, well, people still came to see it, even with the reveals. So as long as we're confident we have a good movie, it doesn't matter. So maybe that's why the Patrick Stewart thing kind of popped up, just one line or whatever. I'm not trying to give credit. I'm just saying maybe. But the other side of this, I think this movie could top $2 billion. Absolutely. It depends on 2 things. As Shannon alluded to, it has to be a damn good movie, number 1. And number 2, once the reveals start leaking out by word of mouth, and you know these websites can't help themselves, and people on Twitter can't help themselves. Once those reveals start coming out, people are going to want to come see these reveals. If the reveals are huge enough, I think if the reveals are huge enough and the movie is good enough, this thing will absolutely cross $2 billion. Not because of Doctor Strange, but because of all the stuff that you're going to see that's going to be connected to all the stuff that's coming up. So people will want to go see it. If it's a good movie, people will go multiple times to go see it and enjoy the reveals every time. So that's kind of where I'm at on it overall. All right. So Travis Earl asked us, what Star Wars Vision segment for the first season do you want to see continued in season 2? I think we answered that already, Travis, but thank you so much for your Streamlab. Jim Cotta back again saying, how cool is it that Mystery Science Theater was able to take a successful Kickstarter campaign to bring us season 13 and turn it into a full-blown indie streamer service by creating the Gizmoplex? Do you think other creators could continue this trend? Shannon or Laura? I don't know who to go on this one.
That was all foreign language to me, so I don't know.
it was a little foreign to me as well. What I'm gathering is that they did a crowdsourced campaign and were able to come up with a new season.
Yeah.
It all depends on the fan base. It all depends on the fan base of certain properties. I mean, I remember Mystery Science Theater 3000. Like, I never watched it. But if the desire is there from the audience to get something made, they just proved it. It'll get made.
Yeah. I think that's a Bibiani question. He loves that kind of stuff. And I will say this, I think anything is possible, but I also think Mystery Science Theater is its own separate anomaly. And there's a reason why it appeals to a certain segment of the audience, and no other show like it has been able to appeal to that segment of the audience quite as powerfully as Mystery Science Theater has. So I think this is a random one-off, and a number of factors had to be involved for it to happen this way. I don't anticipate, because there's a lot of money that's involved in doing a streaming service. I don't anticipate that a lot of people who are starting out to just make another movie, another season of a show, are going to stumble their way into a full-on streaming service. You know? So I'll just throw that out there. All right. John Lee says, looking forward to Doctor Strange 2, but we may have gotten a movie with a multiverse already that might be one of the best movies of the year, and everything everywhere all at once. Did you guys see it yet? Yao and Quan killed it. Probably will be in my top 5 of the year. Laura or Shannon, have either of you guys seen this yet?
I have not seen it yet. I intend to, but I haven't yet. And I'm sort of, I'm a little bit disappointed that it didn't do better numbers, and I'm afraid that they're going to pull it really quickly. And from, I think another show I was listening to today was talking about how this isn't a good thing for original stories. This isn't a good sign that movie didn't do as well as it did in the box office. I think critically I've heard very good things. So I'm excited to see it. But yeah, it's TBD on whether or not we'll be able to, I think, to continue to get this like high level of storytelling and these original stories. You know, I love all the franchises that we're talking about, but the fact that, some of that original storytelling is falling behind, and not, if it can't do $200 billion or whatever opening weekend, like that's just the state of things are kind of sad. So I hope that I'll be able to get out and see that movie soon and support it and throw my money at things like that.
Shannon, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, I did see it yesterday.
Oh, good.
And I did not see it. I was not in the right frame of mind. Like, I was super tired, and I was just
long time to see it.
Yeah. I walked in and like I was into it, but I was like, oh, my eyes are getting heavy. Yeah. I'm like, let me just shut my eyes for 5 minutes. And then when it came back, I'm like, I'm a little lost. But what I saw, I mean, and again, like I dozed off for very, very, very quick little cat nap. Even though I was a little lost at times in the story, what they showed, I mean, it is weird. But it is so captivating.
Yeah.
And by the end, I mean, the emotional wallop that this movie gives you again and again and again. It's definitely a film that I think, even if you don't miss a few minutes because you're snoozing, I do think it probably multiple viewings probably is a help. I'm definitely going to see it again. And no spoilers, but coming out of that movie, if they do not find a way to bring back Ke Huy Quan into Indiana Jones 5 and just give him the franchise after 5,
Wow.
it will be a shame, because he was so, like, obviously it's Michelle Yeoh's movie and she was dynamite, but looking at Data up on screen as a grown up, and he was just so good. And it's one of those situations where it's like, God, I like, you need, he's given a lot of interviews how post Goonies, post Temple of Doom, like, as an Asian American actor, like, it was hard.
Yeah.
Like, they're just, the roles just weren't there. And at some point you have to make a decision. What am I going to keep going down this path that is not yielding any fruit, or am I going to try to do something else? And he went and did something else. I mean, he still does work in the industry, but the fact that he's getting these opportunities now to come back, I mean, he's such a delight on screen. And just the visual of him putting on a brown fedora, I'm like, God, that would make me so happy. But yes, if Everything Everywhere All at Once is playing near you, I mean, again, it's off the wall. Yeah. But it is a great original ride at the theater.
Yeah, someone who's seen it twice. I absolutely love this movie. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. So yeah, you cannot go in tired. You cannot go in with your mind, be as refreshed as possible, because it will take you on a hell of a ride. And those last 20 minutes, I compare them to Batman. The Batman's 20 minutes, you know, they push the limits of what you can handle. But should it be these 20 minutes longer? Should it be cut? Should have those 20 minutes been cut? Possibly, you might think that when you come out, but the message is so powerful that I think it overrides a lot of any concerns you might have. As Shannon already eloquently stated, Ke Huy Quan is fantastic in this film. And if you want to really cry today, go and watch his interview with Jimmy Kimmel. It will absolutely devastate you when he talks so honestly about what his experience was like after all those movies when he was young in his career, being unable to find a place in Hollywood, and what he had to do to survive, and all these things he went through. And people are so happy to see him back, and he delivers an incredible performance. And so does Stephanie Sue. I think that's who plays the daughter. She is great in this as well. She's an up-and-coming actress. And Michelle Yeoh of course, Michelle Yeoh rules the nest, of course, but leave a little love for Jamie Lee Curtis as well. She is great in the film as well. And James
Hong.
Yeah. Which hopefully appeared while you were awake. So,
okay.
You know, hey, you brought it up.
I'm being honest. I had a very stacked day. I was like, all right, I'll be able to see this movie in between this and this.
You got to go see Fast and Furious when you're tired. That's the best way to go see it.
Me dozing off is no reflection on that movie. That's the reflection of doing too much in a day.
Curbside Prophet 13 says, hey, y'all, question I have is there has been a lot of talk about a High Republic series. We'll throw this one to Laura first. Wondering what it is you'd like to see. I think only Laura has read the books. I think you're right. Honestly, just give me live or animated adaptations of the books and I'll be happy. So, Laura, what would you want to see from the High Republic series? Where do you lean on this?
Well, I definitely would love to see anything on screen, just to give credence to those books what they're due, because they're so good. The storytelling is just so great, and it's so fun being in this different era. And again, just like Star Wars Visions, separated from all of the Skywalker saga stuff. There are a few exceptions where they do, connect a few dots here and there. But I think in terms of animation, I'd love to see something like that, because I am not a huge comic book reader, but I loved the High Republic comic series. And to see some of the people who worked on that get to sort of have a say in the design of what these characters would look like on screen would mean a lot to me, because it would just being able to see some of those people come to life would be really cool.
Yeah.
The live action stuff I'm a little bit more weary of. I keep hearing all of these rumors of a live action series being filmed this summer, but I think what I've been hearing for the most part is that it's going to be aimed at like a younger audience, and it's going to have like younger characters playing the lead roles. So may or may not really be aimed at me as the target audience, but if it gets people to read those books, power to them, because that's I think the biggest thing with these stories, getting to know these new characters and how incredible they are, and how these 5 authors came together and made this story what it is. And now that group of 5 authors is expanding, and we're jumping 150 years farther back in time with phase 2 that's going to be kicking off in October. It'll be interesting to see if any of these things that are supposedly coming on screen are playing off of the phase 2 content, or if it's all going to be phase 1.
Yeah.
I'll be really interested to see, but I would be extremely interested in seeing anything High Republic on screen. I guess it just depends, but in a lot of cases, I may even prefer animation in this situation.
Yeah, why not? Why not? I'd be curious to see myself. Shannon, thoughts on High Republic series? Have you read any of this stuff? Are you aware of any of this stuff?
I have listened to The Light of the Jedi. I'm probably about halfway through. And again, there's just not enough hours in the day to take in everything that we'd like to take in. Just as a concept, I mean, more Star Wars to me is never a bad thing.
Yeah,
and
good point.
And sort of having this new corner that's been open recently with the books and the graphic novels, I think it's awesome. I mean, I would certainly make time for that if that were to happen. And I also heard about that new show with the youngsters in the lead. I'll tell you guys more off mic.
Ooh, okay.
But yes, that is something that I had heard about as well.
Oh, wow, fantastic. John Lee asks, what character cameos do you think we might see in Multiverse of Madness other than Professor X? I think we kind of handled that. Also, where would you rank the upcoming Marvel movies and TV shows in terms of your anticipation level for the ones that have been announced so far? So, wow, good question, because we've got what? Doctor Strange, Ms. Marvel, Thor,
Black Panther 2.
Yeah, Black Panther 2.
Ant-Man 3.
Okay.
Guardians 3.
Okay.
Those are the ones that have been that have a release date.
Right.
And then
okay.
And the series after it's Miss Marvel in June or July.
Yeah.
Then She-Hulk.
Oh, the Marvels too, right? That's next year. That's next year. But
that's 2023.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
For the
She-Hulk. Yeah.
Secret Invasion. Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, Secret Invasion, Ironheart, and I don't know if Echo has started shooting yet.
There's rumors about a What If season 2 as well. So.
Oh yeah, no, I think that's for sure. I think that's definitely coming.
All right, so what's your ranking here?
I mean, I think there's too much stuff to go through to kind of rank it, but in terms of and also Guardians 3. Did I say Guardians 3?
Yeah, Guardians
3. Gosh, in terms of the movies, I mean, last week I probably would have said Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. But we're getting so close to that Thor Love and Thunder trailer that maybe it's Thor Love and Thunder. But at the same time, I'm really looking forward to the next Ant-Man movie. I'm really curious to see Jonathan Majors as Kang. And then on Disney Plus, oh man, probably Secret Invasion.
Okay.
Just because comparing it to Secret Wars, like I'm curious how they're going to put their own spin on that story.
Right. All right, Laura, do you want to venture to try to log these or rank these in terms of anticipation? Or
with this question, did we narrow it down to just this year or just stuff coming in general?
Let's keep it to just this year, which is She-Hulk, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, Wakanda Forever, Thor Love and Thunder, Ms. Marvel, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. That's what I have for everything this year.
Yeah, and that's too many things I don't know anything about any of the characters. I'm very excited for Thor Love and Thunder because this is the Taika Waititi movie, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, very, very excited about that, and the fact that we're going to get more a different version, I imagine, of Natalie Portman in this is going to be very exciting. I love. She's one of those actresses that I see in things, and I kind of just always think of Padme, who's not a character that I love by any means. So I want to be able to associate her with not that, and I'm kind of hoping that Thor: Love and Thunder does it for me. Besides that, the next Guardians thing sounds great. Black Panther I was excited for, but then with all of this, some of this drama with Letitia Wright, I'm like, I don't know if I even need this now. So yeah, we'll see. It's going to be hard watching that movie without T'Challa.
I know.
It's just going to be sad.
I think that's why it's lower on my list. I'm with Laura on that. I don't find, I'm not that looking forward to Wakanda Forever, but I think Doctor Strange is my number one because I love Doctor Strange. I enjoyed that movie to pieces. I think it's in my top 10 of the MCU. And so seeing the continuation of that, I'm very excited to see. I think then from there, it goes to Secret Invasion. Then it goes back to Thor: Love and Thunder. Then because I think Secret Invasion, if they make that work with the level and quality of actors that they have, it's going to be incredible. Then Thor: Love and Thunder. Then Ms. Marvel. And then Black Panther, I think, at the end there. So those are kind of my level of anticipation overall. But look, it's like 0.1 degrees, points. I mean, it's not really. They're all very high on my anticipation level.
There's nothing we're not looking forward.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's a better way of saying it. Absolutely. Let's see. Okay, John W. Ashford said, "Hey all, with Russell Crowe rumored to play Zeus in Thor 4." More than a rumor. Who do you see as Hercules if the MCU starts bringing in the Greek pantheon? Fuck, man, I can barely get the Egyptian gods lined up for Moon Knight. You can start bringing in the Greek gods and Eternals, and fuck, and my mind immediately just goes, I don't want to go to school to watch superhero comic book fucking movies. I don't know. That's my opinion on it. But John, it's a good question. All right, Laura and Shannon here. Who do you see as Hercules if the MCU starts bringing in the Greek pantheon? Anybody jump out at you for Hercules?
No.
Two. Okay, there's two. There's two.
All right.
Like I don't think this will happen, but to me, Henry Cavill would be an incredible Hercules.
I mean, it's the perfect casting, for God's sakes. You put a
he's already huge.
Yes.
If they were gonna grab somebody and bulk him up, Jamie Dornan from Belfast.
Ooh, that's a nice choice.
Yeah.
I would see him being a good Hercules.
Laura, is there anyone that you really can't think of anybody?
You know, I would need like 2 days of time to like sit back and think about this. So I'm not good at those types of questions on the fly. I like Shannon's suggestions a lot. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't have much to add in front of that. I didn't know that even Marvel had a Greek mythology section. Like that's news to me alone. So you've already blown my mind a little bit. I can't go beyond that.
I love that. Yeah, I think Cavill was the first one that leapt to mind. I mean, look, there are not a lot of muscle-bound people that can act. There are a lot of actors that you can muscle up, like Kumail Nanjiani, who are already good actors that you could add to the mix here. So, yeah, I don't know if there's anybody else besides Cavill that immediately leaps to mind overall. Maybe we should, but I like Jamie Dornan. That's a nice choice. He's due for something in the MCU at some point, for God's sakes, or maybe the new Superman. Francisco Lopez says, "Hey guys and Laura, first, how much of this is Vogel's fault? What? Second, what do you think about the report of the future of DC films and TV series on the new owner leadership?" I think we tackled that, Francisco. I hope the future is bright for DC films and series. Do you have faith?
Well, to how much of this is Vogel's fault? Because he's not here, 100%.
Oh,
Actually, it's more his friend's fault because it's for a birthday. That's why he went.
That's right.
That's why he went to Europe. But also the other day, I was at a restaurant here grabbing lunch, and they were talking about the Vogel, the football coach, and that's the picture that I took and tweeted out where it said, "How much is Vogel's fault?" And I was like, "Well, this is fate."
Shannon, I hate to correct you. You're talking about a basketball coach. Frankly.
Oh, was it a basketball coach?
Yeah, he's a coach of the Lakers.
Yeah, there you go.
They're pretty big. Okay.
I knew it was a Los Angeles team. Like I'm glad I didn't say the Rams.
That's Sean McVay. Anyway, go ahead. Keep going. Yeah.
Sports ball coach.
Tonight.
In terms of having faith, I mean, look, there are two ways to look at things, either optimistically or pessimistically. And I choose to look at it positively. Like, and more often than not, I have crossed my fingers in the positive column, and stuff doesn't turn out well, and that happens. I mean, as if you listen to the Cinephiles with John and Steve Morris, I mean, Steve talks regularly about how hard it is to make a movie. I mean,
Yes.
and when you're dealing with corporations and studios, and like it's a miracle, one, that anything ever gets made, but that it turns out well, and some of them turn out really well, and you just never know. And so if this new direction that Warner Discovery wants to take DC, I mean, if it doesn't work, they know how valuable the catalog of DC Comics characters is. So if this next at bat doesn't go well, they're going to try again. Yeah. And at some point, it's a numbers game. We're gonna get a good Superman movie at some point.
Yeah, that's fair. Another good Superman movie, I think.
Excuse me. Apologies. I'm not meaning to besmirch Man of Steel.
Thank you.
I did enjoy Man of Steel.
Thank you very much. I know you've been changing your tune lately.
I haven't been changing my tune
with your new friends, but Man of Steel is a goddamn great movie, and I remember sitting in Shannon McClung's apartment a long time ago, getting teary-eyed with Shannon as we watched that movie. So I'll not have you erase that from our memories. All right. Yeah, I have faith. I have faith because DC feels like it's turned a corner. And yeah, there's still been some stumbles, but with like Wonder Woman 1984. But Patty Jenkins going, you know what? Fuck Rogue Squadron. I'm going to come back and do Wonder Woman 3 because I need to focus on making this a good movie. Tells me that there are people involved in these productions that want to fix things if they don't work. And that shows care. And if there's care, that means there's a greater possibility of things turning out well rather than not well. So I like that. Where I think nobody cares, it's Sony, in my personal opinion. All right. Bounty and Kiovale says, hey, red shirt guy. Oh my God. Jesus, that's like 5 years ago. It's your favorite Asian stoner from Denver. Just wanted to show some love. Longtime fan of yours, John. Oh, thanks. That's very kind of you. Thanks for the love. I appreciate that. Keep sending in that love while you're stoned. That's a good number. Fredtastic 314 says, hey, buddies. Always so happy to see a live show, especially with Laura. Just wanted to show support. Have a great evening. Thank you, Fred.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And Curbside Prophet 13 says, how much do we have to pay to be a part of the off mic conversation with Shannon? I suppose I can just wait till Celebration. Oh, yeah, you're assuming. Oh, yeah, that it'll be announced at Celebration. But yeah, interesting point. So, Shannon, how much would they? I think $500 a person, I think, seems fair, don't you?
Well, I'm glad that you think that.
Oh! You think higher? All right, fine. What do you think of this, Laura? Laura, how about Arnold Schwarzenegger's kid as Hercules? Would that work for you, Laura? Would that work for you?
I don't know. Does he have a kid that acts? I have no idea.
He does have a kid that acts. His name is Patrick Schwarzenegger. Yes.
Had no idea. News to me.
He hasn't done much for sure. He is an American. Good-looking dude. Good-looking dude. I think he's the Maria Shriver son, I believe. So is that right, Shannon?
I mean, Patrick Schwarzenegger. Yeah, that would make sense. The other son that was the
the maid.
I don't believe his last name is Schwarzenegger.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all the Streamlabs and super chats. I think we got about 5-10 minutes left. If you want to send something in, now's the time. Send in some support or send in some love to us here on the channel. Laura, we had a Star Wars bit of news come up here real quickly. I want to get your thoughts on this. It was about Clone Wars and Bryce Dallas Howard. Do you know the story I'm talking about?
Yes, I think she made a hint that if you are a fan of the Clone Wars, you are really going to like the live action Ahsoka show, which makes sense just kind of on its surface in general. But I got really excited about that because it sounds like she's going to be heavily involved in it, which is great. And I don't know if that, means that she's going to be acting as some sort of showrunner, or if she's going to be directing an episode or more than one episode. But either way, I'm excited. I love what she's done in the Star Wars universe, and I am excited just in general for the Ahsoka show. So now I've got two worlds colliding, and I'm pumped about it.
Yeah, Shannon, Bryce Dallas Howard was giving this interview to Romper and said, without giving anything away, you are going to love the Ahsoka show that's coming up. I cannot tell you anything, but what I can say is that you being a fan of the Clone Wars will be greatly rewarded. A lot of people have been speculating that we might be getting Rex, and we might be getting, Tamora Morrison playing different characters, different clone. Would you like to see him being a part of the Ahsoka series? We had such a emotional damage into season 7 of Clone Wars. So what do you think? Would we risk more emotion here with the clones coming back and Ahsoka continuing this story?
Absolutely. One, I want to see Tamora Morrison get his just desserts on a Star Wars series because I feel like he didn't get that from the Book of Boba Fett. I would really like to see him given the opportunity to knock it out of the park, which I think we all presume and feel that he can. And watching him get to age up a little bit and watching this connection between Rex and Ahsoka that was there in the animated series, like that's something I would definitely want to see in live action. And yeah, I mean the Ahsoka series being connected to Clone Wars, I mean that seems like a pretty obvious. What just happened?
Go ahead.
That seems pretty obvious that there would be a strong connection to the Clone Wars. I'm of the Star Wars series coming down the pipe. Like that is one that I am especially excited for. Like, are we gonna get to meet it? Are we gonna find Ezra like that and get into a live action Thrawn? I mean, this is a character that I first read about when I think I was in middle school with the Zahn books.
Oh yeah.
So finally getting to see him in all his blue-skinned glory. I mean, that sounds awesome to me.
Yeah. Yeah, another thing she talked about was the Mandalorian. She said you're absolutely right when talk about Mando and his impervious armor. He's very strong in a Mandalorian culture. They're trained to be warriors, and so they can do that. But then that's where back to spray comes in as well, because he doesn't have a back to tank like Boba, but back to spray is helpful. I've never heard of back to spray, but you were absolutely right. In the Boba Fett season, Mando got sliced by the Darksaber, and then his leg was messed up. I was super excited to have that because I wanted to show he gets hurt and then heals from back to spray. So we did see, the back to spray. Laura, is this kind of a convenient thing that they added here to have the back to spray? I mean, I've seen a number of football/soccer games where they apparently spray somebody and they fix a broken leg, but what do you think about this whole situation with the back to spray?
Back to spray is a convenient plot device in all of Star Wars, going back to Empire Strikes Back and throwing Luke in there in the diaper. Like it's always been a very convenient plot device. So this isn't anything new, the fact that we're using back to this way in Star Wars. I will point out though that in the High Republic era, Bacta has not fully been realized yet for all of its healing properties. So when people get injured, there's some higher stakes. So if that's something that if it's important to you that Bacta not be used as a plot device in Star Wars, I recommend the High Republic.
Also, this is really odd that came through. Apparently there's an ad.
No, it's strawberry jelly.
With Doctor Strange and David Harbour. But he's not using his Russian accent. So
I was going to say he's not playing his Black Widow character. What is this?
What is this? What are we seeing here? What do you think?
It looked like a detergent commercial.
Do we see what's his face as one of the cameos in Doctor Strange? Is that possible? Do we see him?
Red Guardian?
Red Guardian, maybe? I don't know.
I mean, this is where I think that 2 hour and 6 minute runtime comes into play. Like, I don't think you have the time to go and see every version.
Doctor, did he talk about me? I just want to know if he talked about me.
Doctor Strange, did he talk about me?
Tell truth. Tell truth.
Captain America.
Interesting. Multiple verses. Dom Gonzalo. Hey, Tom, what's up? He says they have back to spread Carbon Health. Oh, Dom, always on point. Always on point. Representing Carbon Health. Thank you, Dom. It's very kind of you. They do have back to spray at Carbon Health as well. All right. I think Philly G just donated some extra. Thank you, Philly G. Very kind of you. All right, let's wrap it up there. 90 minutes is good here for the Geek Buddies with our special guest, Laura Kelly. Thank you all so much for joining us for this live Q&A. This was Shannon McClung's idea. He's like, let's do something fun with Vogel out in Europe. Let's have some fun. And we came up with a Q&A, and Laura was very kind to join us. So thanks to Shannon, and thanks to all of you for joining us. We had a lot of fun here talking about all these subjects, and thanks for all your questions. It was a lot of fun to hear what you all want to talk about and everything involved with that. And big thanks to Laura Kelly, who joined us. Laura, thank you so much. Where can the people find you and everything that's going on?
Thank you for having me back, guys. This was a lot of fun. You can come find me on Twitter at @shutup_Laura. It's the same handle on Instagram. And you can find my podcast, Force Toast, a Star Wars Happy Hour, on all of the major podcast platforms. And the show that I host right here on John's network is The Jedi Way. We'll be back at some point after Moon Night with new episodes of The Jedi Way talking about fun, big picture concepts in Star Wars.
Absolutely. And look, we're both going to Star Wars Celebration. Right. And so I'm doing my damnedest to get us a spot on Podcast Row so that we can do a Jedi Way from that area. I don't know if it can happen, but I'm going to do my damnedest to make sure it can happen. We shall see. Overall, you never know with these things. Shannon, much love to your brother, man. What do we have to tell him?
Yeah, if you'd like to follow us on social media, on Twitter, it's @geek_buddies, on Instagram at @the_geek_buddies. If you'd like to follow me on social media, on Twitter, it's @Shannon_McClung, on Instagram at Shannon the Geek Buddy. If you would like to follow Mr. Vogel, the absent Mr. Vogel, it is @MKToon. And if you would like to follow Mr. Rocha, it is @TheRocha And tomorrow, April 15th, Strawberry Shortcake, Berry in the Big City. All 40 episodes of our first season is dropping on Netflix.
Hey!
So if you would like to support Mr. Vogel and tangentially me as well, go ahead, hop onto Netflix and crank through those episodes. They're only 4 minutes apiece. And yes, this is a show that's directed at a younger audience, but there's some stuff in there that consistently makes me laugh. So I hope you all check it out.
How many episodes?
40.
40 episodes at 4 seconds? 15 times
at
4?
4 minutes.
4 minutes, sorry. 40 episodes, 4 minutes. It's not too bad. That can be done in the morning. You can knock this whole thing out in a morning.
It could,
right? Because if 15 episodes at 4 minutes is 60 minutes, that's an hour. 15 times 3 is 45. You can knock this out in under 3 hours, ladies and gentlemen. So just putting that logic out there. Anyway, please remember to subscribe to the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell button here on the Outlaw Nation channel. We appreciate it madly. And don't forget, the Geek Buddies also have a podcast stream. So everything if you want to re-listen to us or don't want to see our pretty faces, then you could definitely head on over there and subscribe to our podcast stream. And please subscribe anyway, just to support us and give us some love and get us more ads on those platforms so we can keep going and doing the Geek Buddies show. We'd appreciate it madly. This audio will probably be up a little bit later on tonight or in the morning there for you all to listen to and enjoy as well, in case you missed anything in our back and forths on all the subjects we talked about as well. Shannon, is there anything else I need to tell them? Oh, make sure you hit a like on this video, share it on your social media, put that hashtag the Geek Buddies and the hashtag the Outlaw Nation, but you can fit it on there, and leave a comment down below. Likes and comments elevate the visibility. And in fact, as we're wrapping up here, please hit a like on this video as we're wrapping up. Shannon, anything I missed out on here?
No, I think you nailed all the Vogel points. You didn't have crazy glasses on and go, hey, come see your buddies, the Geek Buddies.
The Geek Buddies, right? That's a good.
That's
point.
good.
Done that. Clarissa saying Rocha math. Yeah, absolutely. That's how it works in my head. I mean, come on. That's how I get to things, Don't ask me to explain it. You guys are awesome. Thank you much for joining us. And don't forget, tomorrow also the Geek Buddies will be dropping our spoiler review for Moon Knight episode 3. It's just Shannon and I handling it, doing the review for you due to scheduling issues. Couldn't get everybody on board, so it'll just be me and Shannon doing it. So look out for that tomorrow. A lot happened in that episode, so we're going to break it all down for you all as well. All right, y'all take care of yourselves. Be well, and we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode here from the
Geek
Buddies. Hey!